In today's episode, I want to discuss the concept of what you resist persists, and how important this is in your journey of self-transformation. Because if you are resisting, let's say, which can show up as avoidance or conscious repression of these past narratives by which you once lived, but now you're looking to change that. If you're not accepting them, and by accepting, meaning acknowledging them and recognizing that though that is the person you once were, at least the person you identified yourself to be, but it's no longer who you have to be now. If you're afraid to acknowledge those stories and you can't actually let them go, and instead you avoid through social media, through distracting yourself of all sorts, or through simply trying to divert your attention away whenever they come up, and you've never actually come to terms with them, then they persist. They continue to run the show behind the curtain within your subconscious mind. And so that future that you desire now continually evades you. Be like grasping for smoke. So this is super important. This is a super important step in conscious creation. And it's why in the RISE method, in the 4-step transformational process that I've created, the first step is recognition. It's recognizing those stories. It's recognizing the shadow. It's a form of shadow work. Because, again, we have to make space for the new to come in. So we have to release, detach from those limiting beliefs so that that which we are now imagining for ourselves, that which we desire to have in the future, we can bring that into the now, actually, once we detach from what no longer serves us. I made a guided meditation specifically for this process, which you can go check out a couple episodes back. And so if you're not acknowledging these stories, what can happen is they persist. And as Carl Jung says, they don't only persist, but they grow in size. Okay, so, Carl Jung also had this idea of what is known as Enantiodromia, okay, which is basically a Greek term for a turning toward the opposite. So if you think about a pendulum, if you are continually pulling a pendulum this way, okay, and resisting the swing, if you're trying to prevent it from happening, then it's just going to come back in stronger fashion. In the same way, if you are resisting or avoiding, which is another form of resistance, if you're avoiding these past parts of yourself that you may have once identified with, but now you wish to change that, if you're resisting the acceptance of that, it's going to come back in various ways in your life that you may not expect, you may not want. So what do we want to do? We want to release that, ultimately. What you accept transforms. What you accept, what you look at, dissipates. And we've talked about this before. One way in which, because it can be scary, right? It can be scary to face those parts of ourselves. We all experience that. I experience that, certainly. When we're looking to make the next step in our health and our business, when we have a goal, a worthy goal that we're striving for, there's inevitably going to be challenge with that. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worthy necessarily. You need that challenge. You need that feeling of working towards something. It's part of the human experience, right? We talk about, yes, it's nice to have it to be more effortless at times, to have that flow. And I believe that's namely how we're meant to operate by. It's by the principle of least resistance. But that said, when you're making a worthy goal for yourself, there is inevitably some element of challenge and striving. It's kind of analogous to the hero's journey. So when we make a goal like that for ourselves that has a little bit of this challenge, and we're having to come up against these parts of ourselves, release that part of ourselves that no longer serve us, so then the part that we want to come in can naturally unfold, because that's naturally who you are. It's who you desire to be. Your desire is divinely inspired. a concept or a perception that can help you with that is to recognize that all is love. I have a video, I'll link to that in the description, that all is love. Meaning that these parts of yourself, maybe you're telling yourself you're not worthy to have that partner. You're not worthy to make that much money. You don't know how to make that much money. You don't have the competence or the capabilities to build a business in that regard, to make that much money. It's too hard to make relationships work. Okay, any of these narratives by which you may have once lived, you can look at them, notice them, and recognize how they're pointing you to the ideal way of being now, how you'd like to be. What are they teaching you to accept about yourself? How to shift? And in that sense, they are coming from a place of love because they are working for your highest good. And working for your highest good for the highest good of all. So this is just a simple, shorter video that I wanted to make with a simple reframe that can help you in that process of recognizing that which no longer serves you, these shadow elements. And you know what they are intuitively. We can journal them out, yes, that certainly helps. We want to gain knowledge and to get concrete vision as to what this narrative is exactly. But you know right now what it is. That intuition is available to you. And when you can meet that part of yourself with a little bit of curiosity and with realizing that it's coming from a place of love ultimately, because at the base of all reality, all is love. That's the base frequency. This universe is sustained and created by love. God is love. Source is love. This infinite intelligence that created us, that created all life, at its core is love. And so it gave you these parts of yourself. It gave you this experience of needing parts to die off so that you can be reborn, and to show you that what we're experiencing is just a continual peeling back of who we truly are, and just shedding and shedding and shedding and allowing the true essence of who you are to come into being, so that you can simply step into that a little bit more. Now, it doesn't feel like that, or the process might seem a little bit more complex than that. There might be action involved, certainly. Doing. Okay, but we want to learn to do from the being. And that's when we talk about surrendering to the end, right? Living from the end. Okay, acting from a place whereby we know the end is inevitable. That end state is inevitable. It's coming to be. And for it to come to be, we must acknowledge, okay, that which we may be holding on to that's no longer serving us. We have to detach from that. Because again, what you resist persists. And we can look at those parts of yourself, let them go. You make space for the new. And you step into more of who you truly are. So that's all I had for you today. Thank you so much for being here. Check out the links in the description for some of those videos I mentioned. Check out the Rise Method course that I just published. I'll link to it below. There's a free subconscious reprogramming masterclass as well. And look to join the Rise community. It's a group of conscious individuals in their journey to reprogramming and harnessing the power of their minds to enhance their wealth, their happiness, their relationship success, their prosperity on all fronts, deepening their connection with power greater than themselves, and sharing wins and struggles in that process. Thank you so much. This has been on my heart, especially today, this notion of what you resist persists, and it's that we must always, in this continual unfolding of ourselves, like I said, this continual journey of becoming more and more and refining that vision, purifying that vision, realizing more parts of ourselves that just need to be let go, to face them and realize that they're not that scary at all, but they're actually teaching you to step into more love, to step into more health, to step into more peace, to step into more prosperity, to experience more happiness, to experience more compassion. They're showing you how to do that. So thank you so much. I love you. Take care.